Hey, good morning. It's Edna here live with Free Coaching Friday. And today we're going to talk about ways to keep more income from your rental property. So there's always a long list of ways that we can get better at what we do, isn't there? We've talked before about reducing expenses, and you know what? Reducing expenses and keeping more income for your property is one and the same. As long as you can keep that in mind, we'll go at her. So one is change the lighting in your building. If you've got old lights in your building, upgrade them to the LED lights. They're a lot more electricity friendly. The other thing is, in the dead of winter, which it is right now when it's really cold, is make sure all your door jambs and stuff are sealed properly. You know how many times I walk into a building and I see a space there that allows air to be flowing back and forth, and that makes a huge difference on your heating costs. Another one is to keep your stuff serviced. So whether it's your boiler or your fridge, your stove, all that kind of stuff, keep it serviced, because that will keep your expenses down as well. As they get older, they also the older appliances definitely use a lot more energy, or power, I should say. So replace them when it makes sense. You can even get newer fridges and stoves that will definitely save you $100 or $200 a year. So you start thinking about how much that can add up in, say, like a 30-unit building. That can add up to a lot. Low flow toilets is another one. It's huge. We try to put a low flow toilet in every single rental property that we have. We don't always replace them right away. Sometimes the cash isn't there quite yet, so we just wait. But that's a good thing to use to keep your expenses down as well. The other is, really watch. What we're noticing lately is SAS Power. I don't know if they're looking for extra money from all their people, but holy cow, are we getting high estimates. We've taken all our bills off automatic payments because and I hope some SAS Power people listen to this, because it's absolutely ridiculous. They give estimates, and they won't read your meter till a certain date, and it's always high. I mean, I've never ever had a time at the end when it says, oh, by the way, you owe us money. So we've taken everything off automatic payment because we're tired of upfront paying them. And if you try to call in and get it changed, some of them are really good. You know what? Yeah, I can stop that plan right now. Nope, the rest will somewhere say, no, you got to send in a letter. You got to do this, you got to do that. Big waste of time on our part, but they don't care, right? So we stopped all our monthly plans, and we're going to pay when we get actual meter reads, because it's just ridiculous. $400-500 on a house for power, and I don't know if you notice, but your end of the year seems to be the worst. So I don't know, they're trying to make their books look good or what, but that's a big rant I have lately because it's been crazy. The other thing they do is, if you have more than one rental property, and not just Power's been doing this to us, but Energy as well, they will randomly find another rental property you own and start taking monthly withdrawals from that account. So be very watchful. We caught $900 and some going through the wrong account. We went back, we called them on it, we got them to go back to who authorized this, and back in 2013, we had authorized a pre-authorized debit on a house that has had a tenant that's been paying Power and Energy for at least 5 years. Well, it must be since that 2013 time. And authorized it on a totally different building, a building we just bought in April. So, I don't know, as you get larger, you're definitely going to have different challenges. When you're smaller, you might have noticed that right away. We had months of it going through the wrong account before we realized. And I reached out to my property manager, and I said, doesn't the tenant at this unit pay her own energy? And she says, oh yeah, she has for a long time. So then we started looking back, and sure enough, 9 months worth of payments going through something that wasn't authorized. So those are really huge things that we're noticing this last couple of years that we didn't used to have issues for. Another one that it's cost us money but saved us money in the long run. We've changed some of our up-down duplexes back to single-family homes. And the reason we've done that is the call for single-family homes is just larger right now. The vacancy rate's higher, so people don't seem to want basement suites as much. So in order for us to do this, say we rent it out to the tenant, I think it started out just being, can't remember if it was SaskPower or Sask Energy. My property manager would know. One or the other would want you to do a walkthrough with them to show that you had in fact changed it to a full house and not a duplex anymore. Because if it's a duplex and it's shared utilities, you're responsible for them. So when our tenants would call in to change the energy or power over to their name, and now recently water, they would say, oh no, that's a duplex, you can't do that, it's got to stay in the owner's name. So we call in and we'd say, we're changing this over to our single family home rental. We want it in the tenant's name. No, we can't do that. It's an up-down duplex, has been since you bought it. Yep, but we're changing it. And they'll argue with you and argue with you. In the long run, they'll go talk to their manager and say, okay, I guess you can. So you really have to be adamant and say, we are changing this to a single family home. You may not have the authority to fix that, but somebody in your office does. You cannot dictate to me whether I run it as a duplex or a single family home. Oh, but yes, then we have to come and inspect. And come and inspect your heart out. And they will charge you $100. So at first it was just one of them. And like I said, I can't remember if it's SaskPower or Sask Energy. The last house, we had all three of them come. And, you know, in our own single family homes, we know we have doors to the basement. Sometimes just to keep the babies from falling down the stairs and stuff. They want you to take off those doors, like silly things, but whatever. You have to do it, pay your $100 and get it moved over to a single family home, and then your tenants can pay the utilities for it. So those are some ways. Another one is to, you know, make sure you do a walkthrough inspection with your tenants ahead of time. Because, you know, there might end up being, you know, gouges on the floor that weren't there. Or sometimes there's gouges on the floor that were left there from a previous tenant. And it's only fair to your tenants, but it's also fair to you that if some repair like that has to happen, that it comes off their security deposit. One of our buildings last year was just going through with the accountant the other day, $13,000, I think, that we kept in security deposits for damages. Well, either damages or security deposits left behind because they moved out and didn't pay their rent and stuff like that. So that's another way to increase your income on a property. Also, as landlords, we have the right, if someone has signed a 6-month lease and they break it, we have the right to go after them to finish paying their lease if we cannot get that place leased out in that time frame. Sometimes it's like trying to get blood from a stone, but you know, tell people. Lots of times just by us stating, nope, that's not part of our rules. You signed a 6-month lease. We'll do everything in our power to get it rented out for you. But if we can't, you are responsible. And generally, we don't end up collecting a full 6 months. You know, say we just had a guy moved in. I think he's been with us a month and now he's got to move out. But we'll get a month or two out of it at least before we get it rented to somebody else. So that's another way to increase your income on a property. The others, like, stay on top of your rent increases. I know for us right now, it's kind of difficult to give rent increases because the vacancy rate's so high. But, you know, even $20 a unit in a large building is a huge increase to your overall bottom line. Another one is, you know, question your property taxes. There's a group out there that will actually work on your behalf to lobby for reduced property taxes. So there's many ways to increase our income and reduce our expenses on our buildings. Lots of times when we take over a building, that's one of the things we do as an overhaul. We call it optimizing the building, but it's going through, get all the low flow toilets, changing all the lights to LED lights, making sure that your boiler's maintained so that it's running more efficiently, stuff like that. Hey, good morning, everyone. Got lots of people on here. Let me see. I've got some good comments. Hi, Demara. Hi, Walter. Hi, Rick. Brett. Hi, Ardell. Hi, Marianne. High estimates for us in our family homes. Yeah, well, and you know what? It does. I know even on ours, it's high estimates. We don't notice as much because it's one house. But when you start getting like 14 bills in a day and you start seeing all those high increases, it's like, holy cow, that adds up. So you start thinking of how many, hundreds of thousands of homes we have here, and the extra money they're making every month by us prepaying it. It's like you prepaying your income taxes. Not a good idea. Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning, Jeff. Hey, Ivan. Lots going on in Saskatchewan. What's going on in your area of the world? It is very cold here. I think we've been hearing that there's cold weather around Canada, so we're all suffering. Even some in the US, I was talking to a couple of people the last few days and they were saying how cold it was. So yeah, we're all suffering together. But keep in mind, gosh, it's February 8th, another month of this and we'll be done. Hopefully. I didn't hear, actually I heard conflicting reports on whether groundhog said early spring or late spring. What's your guys' comments on that? Did you hear it was a late spring or early spring? We always pay attention to that because that's my husband's birthday is Groundhog Day. So it's always a topic of conversation around the table. What did the groundhog say today? Are we going to have an early spring or are we going to have a late spring? Lots of times I know that two different ones will say do two different things. But anyway, it's still fun to listen to. What are some other ways? I've got some good investors on the line on the call here today. What are some other ways that you've reduced expenses and increased income? Another way that we have is tree roots. City tree roots can cause a lot of damages to your underground piping. Get them. I don't even know what they do, but they will come once a year. I believe each property, they'll come once a year and check that out and make sure that it's not damaging your lines. And if you do get some damage, make sure you ask your plumber, is that a city tree or is that our own fault? Because if it's a city tree, we get reimbursed for it. So, that can add up again. If you have lots of properties, it can really make a difference for you. What are some other things that we've noticed lately we've been able to do? One of the things, hey, good morning, Jennifer. One of the things that actually just happened to us recently, we've only ever rented water heaters in Regina because our water's so bad. And if you rent them, they'll service them as part of your agreement, like 150, maybe $160 a year. And if you buy them, they're like $1,700 to $2,000. And they never last 5 years. So we learned that the hard way. When we renovated a basement, put a basement suite in, the whole basement was quite damaged when we took it over. We had to put pony walls and everything in. So the contractor just automatically replaced and bought the water heater. So it cost us up front. And then because our property manager realizes that we rent everything, when we had that particular one go down, and the question was asked, well, do we replace it? And they go, well, of course we replace it. The tenant needs hot water. But they put a purchased one in. So, we were upset about it. But you know what? After the fact, it's too late. So now it's, be careful. That's, I think, the only one in all our rental properties that we had a purchased one, but we ended up having to pay for it. But the rental makes so much more sense because like I said, you pay $1,700, $2,000 for one, and they don't last 5 years. And so you're out. So better to just rent them. Oh, Demir says, I'm looking at solar. Anybody take advantage of the government incentives? We haven't, but boy, I'd like to hear more about that. So we've had different people reach out to us and talk about, making things happen at our apartment buildings. But the expense up front is so outrageous that so far we just haven't pulled the trigger. Probably long term it works out to be better. But when they're handing you a $10,000 or $15,000 bill up front, it's like, yeah, I think I can suck it up for a while. There's got to be, and who knows what'll come up in the next 15 years that's better, right? The other thing, and this is kind of something that I didn't even think of, but beware of what's in your insurance policies. Just recently, one of our joint venture partners was looking through the insurance policy and realized that our boiler was covered. And we actually just replaced our boiler in January of this year. So we've got our insurance agent looking in to see if it was covered. So, there's different things like that. One thing that we do too to really save us a lot of money is we keep our deductibles on our insurance high, like $5,000, because we don't make claims on small stuff because they just come back at you, and your premiums go so high that it doesn't make it worthwhile. And then in the long run, sometimes I've heard of people in their own personal homes getting insurance cut off, maybe because their stereo out of their vehicle had been stolen 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden they won't even insure them anymore. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. Damaris says, I'm talking to a couple different companies to see. Okay, perfect. Let me know. Rick says, back in Edmonton, you can purchase a standard hot water heater for around $1,200 installed, and they typically last 10 years. Yeah, and you know what, Rick? I think that's the difference in your guys' water to our water. Our water's terrible. So that's why it's so challenging here. We were told back when we very first started getting rental properties, just rent them. It just doesn't make any sense to buy them because they don't last. And if you buy them, you have to pay to get them serviced. When you rent them, that's included in your package, and it's serviced once a year, I believe. You have to call and arrange it, but usually they'll send you a notice saying, "Hey, your place is up for renewal or servicing on such and such a date," and then we just send it to our property manager, and they arrange it to get it done. So perfect. So hopefully that helped. I gave about as many as I can think of today. There's dozens more, I'm sure. As a matter of fact, we wrote an article up on it. I'll see if I can get my operations manager to include it in with this live video about, I think, like we went through one of our masterminds. We went through all the different ways that we found in different buildings we were able to optimize our income and expenses. And if I can find it, we'll post it for you. If not, we'll have to wait till another day. So just a reminder, a couple things. My 3-day event is coming up, Profit in the Prairies, March 25th to 27th in Regina, Saskatchewan. If you haven't got your ticket, get it. Early bird deadline is passed, but the tickets are still very reasonable at $198 a piece. If you want to upgrade to VIP, it's another $198, and you get all your meals included all 3 days, and they're excellent meals for anybody that was there before. You know that DoubleTree really has some good food there. They treat us really good. And also for this year, for the first time ever, I have decided to offer a 1-day Master Your Money Mindset workshop on the Sunday before the event. That's $297, and I honestly believe that 90% of person's success is their mindset. And recognizing, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And so we're going to cover off a lot, going to give you some really good strategies that you can use in your life on a daily basis that will make such a difference for you. You won't even recognize yourself in a year. I'm constantly upgrading my mindset. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened yesterday that, you get caught into your day-to-day stuff and you don't always think about it. But I'm working right now on closing a $5 million deal, working on financing that is costing me lots of money, like the mortgage broker fees, the lending fees, the just everything. Like you start adding it up and it's crazy. So I'm working on that. We're working on financing one of our purchases that we bought last year under agreement for sale, now financing it, and we're refinancing a property. So those three properties together are worth $11 million. And I'm working on that all day long. No stress, no stress. Just working on it. Things got to happen, doing this, doing that. Conversation with the mortgage broker, conversation with the lawyer, conversation with the lenders. Got to get this, got to get that. Conversation with the bookkeeper, back and forth, all this stuff all day long, right? So no stress. Guess what stresses me out? My property manager gets a hold of me. We're moving somebody into our Airbnb unit and the Wi-Fi's not on. So it's like, what can you do to get the Wi-Fi back on? Well, first of all, that's not my job. So I send it down to my operations manager. What's happening with access? Our Wi-Fi's not working here. Give them a call. Make the phone call only to find out that they've cut it off on us because we haven't paid our bill. Well, why haven't we paid our bill? Well, because we didn't get a bill. So after, back and forth, like, I don't know how many times, we find out that instead of sending the bill to us, they actually sent it to the Airbnb unit. So, of course, we don't go in the mailbox and check for tenant mail, right? So I'm all upset. The person managing the Airbnb is upset because we got to get cable in there, or cable and internet, because we promised it to the people. And Accesscom, they always drive me crazy. There's charges for this, charges for that. And, my argument back was, why should we have a hookup charge when you didn't even send us a bill? So anyway, I'm all stressed out. And then I started thinking about it, isn't that just crazy? I am negotiating with a guy on a possible $35,000 hard money fee. And I can handle that, no problem. No stress. It's, what about this? What about that? Does it cover this? When does that happen? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm all over the map over it. I think in the long run, I had to do an e-transfer for $177. So I recognized it, realized it. What causes me stress? I can deal with $10 million deals and it doesn't stress me. Give me a $200 bill that hasn't been paid and I'm freaking out on everybody. So I text my team and I go, you know what? You guys have got to not let me do that anymore. I need some help to, just keep me off of that stuff. My time is not best spent getting upset over a $200 bill. You know what? One negotiation, $1,000 less than what I was working on pays 5 of those, and that doesn't even stress me. And I'm stressed over a $200 bill. So that's a mindset issue. I hope you realize that. I can deal with $10 million deals, no problem, doing all the financing, everything else, and a $200 bill stresses me out. Who should not be dealing with the $200 bill? Correct. So how can you manage your mindset better to grow? It's amazing what you can do to make tiny little changes in your life that add up to huge changes. So if you think something like that would help you, you're going to be getting emails, all of you that are on my email list. Sign up. I would love to help you take it to the next level by mastering your money mindset over the next year. I mean, my story, I went from being a single mom earning $1,200 a month to earning over millions a year. I know how mindset changes. And do you think I had to have a mindset shift to start making that kind of money? Bloody rights, I did. A huge mindset shift. And because I'm always working on getting better, doing more, making more, I'm always working on my mindset. So there's definitely things I can help you with there. Here I want to see. Oh, Rhonda's asking, did I ever buy property in Puerto Rico? No, but we were working on one at one time, but they ended up asking way too much money for it, so we ended up letting it go. At one time it would seem like a good deal, but after it went up. Russell says, hey, looking forward to your forum. Yeah, Russell Westcott is coming to speak at us. Yeah, speak for us. I mean, absolutely. I hope it warms up by then. The end of March, it should be a lot warmer. Lots of times people are walking around with just their spring jackets, so definitely we'll keep it warmer for you. He's from BC, so it's warmer there already. So perfect. So hopefully that helped you guys with reducing your expenses and increasing your income on your properties. If any of you have any other tips that you would like to share, you're going to get a copy of this in your inbox. where you're watching right now, just type it in the chat box. It's a great thing to help other people. And if I can add it to my list, then next time I hand it out to you guys, it'll be on there too. So have a really, really good weekend. Stay warm, and we'll see you all Monday for Minds Up Monday. Take care.